What if I told you there's a hidden corner of Europe where old traditions allow people to arrange marriages at village fairs, where archaeologists still uncover graves linked to vampire legends, and where entire towns slowly vanish into history? This is Bulgaria, Europe's most affordable country, where life costs only a few €100 each month. But beneath the low prices lies a land full of ancient mysteries, strange customs, and stories that blur the line between truth and legend. What is fact? What is folklore? And what does life in Bulgaria really look like? Stay with us as we reveal what few outsiders ever see. Imagine this. You're walking through a quiet Bulgarian village. Beyond the ruins of an old church, archaeologists uncover something eerie: ancient human remains with iron stakes driven through their chests. These are not ordinary burials. They are linked to centuries-old folklore, so-called vampire graves. Historians believe that these rituals were meant to stop spirits from rising. But these graves aren't just relics of the distant past. In the year 2012, archaeologists in Sozopol discovered 2 skeletons with iron stakes, dating back nearly 700 years. Further studies suggest that more than 100 such burials have been found across Bulgaria, with similar customs lingering into the 20th century. For centuries, chilling stories of Nosferatu echoed through the Balkans. But unlike the Hollywood version of vampires, local legends describe them as shadowy spirits, feared for bringing misfortune rather than drinking blood. Even today, some elderly Bulgarians hold on to old superstitions, avoiding certain cemeteries after nightfall. These beliefs may seem like relics of the past, but in many villages they remain part of daily life. The stories of these burials are chilling, but deep in the Rila Mountains, another mystery is waiting to be uncovered. Welcome to Kovachev, the ghost town of Bulgaria. At first glance, Kovachev looks like any other abandoned village. Stone houses, worn and cracked, stand frozen in time. Windows, long shattered, stare blankly into the distance. Roads, once bustling with traders and farmers, are now lost under thick vines. But the strangest part, the entire population vanished. According to historical records, Kovachev was once a thriving settlement, but sometime in the early 1900s, something happened. Families left in the middle of the night, leaving behind full dinner tables, unfinished letters, and even livestock wandering through the streets. There was no war, no disease, no clear reason why an entire village would suddenly disappear. Stefan's uncle was one of the few people brave enough to enter Kovachev alone. According to family stories, he visited the village on a warm summer evening in 1984. When he returned at dawn, he was no longer the same man. He never spoke again, Stefan recalls. His hair had turned completely white overnight. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. We asked him what he saw, but he only whispered one thing before he stopped talking forever. They're still there. So what really happened in Kovachev? The truth remains buried in silence. Even today, many believe these legends aren't just old stories, they are warnings. And don't go anywhere. Up next, we're diving into a tradition so controversial, it's almost unbelievable. The Romani wife market. What is it? Why does it still exist? And what do the women involved have to say about it? Stay tuned. But first, as always, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. It helps us reach more people and bring you even more fascinating content. Thank you, legends. Every spring in the city of Stara Zagora, hundreds of young Romani women arrive dressed in colorful outfits and bold makeup. They gather with their families, standing shoulder to shoulder as young men approach, starting conversations and evaluating potential brides. But this is not an ordinary market. This is a bride fair. It is not about money, says Ivan, a 22-year-old Romani man who joined the event last year. It is tradition. It is how we find wives. To outsiders, the custom may seem unusual or even controversial, but to many inside the Romani community, this fair helps preserve culture, strengthen family ties, and protect community honor. Most Romani girls grow up knowing this day will come. Marrying young is often encouraged, while pursuing higher education or independent careers can be discouraged. According to a 2025 report from the European Commission, only about 20% of Romani women in Bulgaria complete secondary education. Despite criticism from human rights organizations and ongoing pressure from the European Union, the Romani wife market still happens. Some families believe it helps secure their daughters' futures, while others worry it limits freedom and choice. The Bulgarian government has attempted to regulate the practice. In 2023, officials introduced a law to ban underage marriages in Romani communities, but enforcement remains difficult since many marriages are informal and never officially registered. What do you think? Is this a cultural tradition worth preserving, or is it time for change? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Now, speaking of the Romani community, there is one mysterious woman whose name still echoes through Bulgaria and even far beyond its borders. Her name was Baba Vanga, and some say she could see the future itself. Born in 1911 in Strumica, a town that today belongs to North Macedonia but was historically connected to Bulgaria, Vangalia Pandeva Gustorova started life just like any other village girl. But her fate changed forever after one terrifying day. As the story goes, she was playing outside when a sudden, violent storm swept through her village. The winds were so strong they lifted her into the air and threw her across a field. Hours later, villagers found her covered in dirt, her swollen eyes filled with sand. From that moment, Baba Vanga lost her sight completely. But according to locals, blindness was only the beginning. Soon after, she started sensing things no one else could see, distant events that had not yet happened, and the presence of people long gone. At first, villagers dismissed her words, but as the years passed, her predictions kept coming true. She is said to have foreseen World War II, the collapse of the Soviet Union, and even the September 11th attacks. Before her death in 1996, she predicted that 2025 would mark a moment of great global turmoil brought on by a force no one could see. In 1989, she allegedly warned, "Horror, horror, the American brothers will fall after being struck by steel birds." Many now believe this was a prophecy of September 11th. Her fame drew visitors from all walks of life, scientists, politicians, and even intelligence agents, each hoping to hear what secrets she could unveil. Was this a supernatural gift or something more unsettling? Some skeptics claim her visions were just clever guesses shaped by her knowledge of politics and gossip. Others believe she came from a long line of Romani mystics gifted with the sight, a power whispered about in local folklore. Even decades after her passing, her words still fascinate and frighten people worldwide. But could her final prophecy about 2025 actually come true? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What if the earth itself could watch you? Deep within Iskar Gorge, hidden in the heart of Bulgaria, lies one of Europe's most surreal natural wonders, Prohodna Cave, better known as the Eyes of God. Unlike any other cave in the world, its ceiling has two massive, perfectly symmetrical openings, resembling giant, unblinking eyes staring down. At night, when the moonlight pours through, the cave almost feels alive, says local guide Nikola Petrov. Some believe these are the eyes of an ancient force. Others see it as nature's masterpiece. Geologists explain that these openings formed naturally over thousands of years due to erosion, but Bulgarian folklore tells a different story. According to legend, Thracian shamans once performed rituals here, believing the cave to be a portal between worlds, a gateway to the divine. Even professional climbers are drawn to Prohodna Cave for its 42-meter-high ceilings, the tallest in any accessible cave in Bulgaria. But not everyone dares to stay inside alone. Bulgaria is filled with landscapes that seem straight out of a fantasy novel. Mystical rock formations, eerie bridges, and places so strange they challenge logic. Here are two of the most intriguing. Hidden in Bulgaria's northwest, the Belogradchik rocks look like remnants of a lost civilization. Towering rock formations stretch across the horizon, resembling ancient ruins shaped by giants. Some of these stones even have names: the Madonna, the Horseman, the Monks, because their shapes appear too precise to be natural. Local folklore insists these rocks were not formed by time and weather alone. They were once living beings, cursed and turned to stone. One of the most haunting legends speaks of a beautiful young nun from a nearby monastery who fell in love with a man, a forbidden sin in her order. The story claims that when she tried to escape with him, the heavens punished them both, turning them and the entire monastery into stone. Could this be just a myth? Maybe. But even geologists admit that the formation of these rocks is unlike anything else in the world. Now, let's step deeper into Bulgaria's supernatural side. Tucked away in the Rhodope Mountains, there is an ancient bridge that locals refuse to cross after dark. Its name? The Devil's Bridge, and the stories surrounding it are chilling. Built in the 16th century, the bridge is a stunning example of Ottoman engineering, yet many believe it hides a terrible secret. According to legend, the architect who built it struggled to complete the structure. In desperation, he made a deal with the devil himself. The price? When the bridge was finally finished, his wife mysteriously vanished. Some say she was taken by the river below. Others believe her spirit is trapped inside the bridge's stones. Even today, engineers are baffled by how the bridge has withstood centuries of floods, earthquakes, and erosion without crumbling. Some locals insist that dark forces hold it together. And here's the strangest part. Animals refuse to cross it. Shepherds claim their livestock panic and won't step onto the stones. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe some legends are more than just stories. If you ever find yourself in Bulgaria, there is one curious habit you will need to retrain your mind for: saying yes and no. In most countries, a nod means yes and a headshake means no. But in Bulgaria, it is totally reversed, leaving newcomers bewildered. It is not a prank, nor some local joke. It is a centuries-old cultural pattern that has baffled travelers, diplomats, and even visiting heads of state. I once ordered a coffee and asked if it came with sugar, recalls Daniel Clark, a British expat living in Sofia. The waiter nodded, so I assumed that meant no. Then he brought me sugar anyway. I felt completely puzzled. This reversal is so deeply woven into Bulgarian identity that even those living overseas continue to do it out of sheer habit. The precise origin is murky, but many historians trace it to the Ottoman period, spanning the 14th to 19th century. One theory suggests that Bulgarians, obliged to obey Ottoman commands, used a nod to discreetly signal resistance, and the practice stuck. Even now, it leads to comedic errors. At restaurants, tourists see a waiter shake his head and think their desired dish is unavailable until it arrives on the table. In business talks, a Bulgarian might nod yet oppose an idea, leaving foreigners utterly confused. And in romantic relationships, partners sometimes find themselves asking, "Wait, did you say yes or no?" Do not worry though. After a short while, your mind will begin to adapt, and you may even find it enjoyable to switch your signals. While many regions celebrate springtime with massive parades and fireworks, Bulgarians welcome it with simple red and white yarn bracelets. Each year on March 1st, people across Bulgaria give one another Martinitsa, a handcrafted adornment made of interlaced red and white threads. This time-honored custom is believed to bring health, joy, and a shield against misfortune. Its exact roots are still debated, but there are two leading stories. A pagan heritage from the Thracians, where red stood for vitality and white for renewal, with both colors seen as magically protective. And the tale of Khan Asparuh, which claims that when the first ruler of Bulgaria, Khan Asparuh, founded the nation in 681 AD, he sent a message to his sister via a falcon carrying a white thread, part of the way it was stained red with blood, and thus the first Martinitsa came into being. Today, Bulgarians wear their Martinitsa until they spot either the earliest stork of the season or the first blooming tree, symbols of genuine spring. Then, they tie the bracelet onto a tree branch, hoping it will invite prosperity and fortune in the months ahead. Even in bustling cities like Sofia and Plovdiv, you will see bare tree limbs adorned with red and white ornaments, a whimsical sight found nowhere else in the world. A beloved sight. You may not believe in bad luck, but in Bulgaria, some habits do more than raise eyebrows. They are believed to invite misfortune, or so the old stories say. In most places, whistling indoors means nothing, but in Bulgaria, whistling inside your home is asking for trouble. The belief says it summons evil spirits and chases away wealth. Once I whistled while making coffee and my grandmother slapped my hand, says Mihail Petrov, a 34-year-old from Varna. She said I was inviting dark forces into the house. It might sound silly, but this tradition stretches back centuries. Some say it comes from ancient Slavic paganism where spirits were called through sound. Others link it to the Ottoman era when whistling at night could signal danger, or even a secret enemy message. Even today, older Bulgarians frown at anyone who whistles indoors. So, if you visit Bulgaria, save your whistling for outside. There is another unusual belief tied to accidents. If you step on someone's foot, it is not just awkward, it is bad luck. And there is only one way to break the curse. The other person must immediately step back onto your foot, restoring balance. It happened on a date, says Daniel, a tourist in Sofia. I stepped on her foot and she stomped back without saying a word. I was completely lost. The idea comes from ancient beliefs in balance. An unreturned step leaves bad energy between two people. Some say it is just a funny tradition, but others insist ignoring it has ruined friendships. After diving into Bulgaria's ancient superstitions, strange rituals, and mysterious folklore, you might wonder, what is everyday life really like here? The answer? Affordable, flavorful, and full of surprises. Unlike the eerie legends and ghostly tales, daily life in Bulgaria is far more down to earth. But that does not make it any less fascinating. Bulgaria is one of the most affordable countries in Europe. Imagine grabbing a coffee in Sofia for less than €1, or renting a one-bedroom apartment for just around €250 a month. It might sound unbelievable, but the numbers speak for themselves. Compared to Western Europe, Bulgaria is shockingly inexpensive. Rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Sofia ranges from around €250 to €400 per month. In Plovdiv, Bulgaria's second-largest city, rent falls between €200 and €350. Groceries for one person average between €150 and €200 per month. A public transport pass in Sofia costs about €25 per month, and a meal at a nice mid-range restaurant, expect to pay €6 to €8. For context, renting in cities like Berlin or Paris could easily cost €1,500 or more, and in London, a single pint of beer might cost you the same as a full dinner in Bulgaria. Because of this affordability, Bulgaria has quietly become a magnet for digital nomads, retirees, and long-term travelers. I moved here from Germany and my living expenses are half what they were, but my quality of life doubled, says Thomas Muller, a software developer who relocated to Sofia. The rent is cheap, the weather is great, and the food is incredible. And speaking of food, you cannot talk about Bulgaria without mentioning rakija, the country's famous homemade fruit brandy. But this drink is more than alcohol, it is hospitality in a glass. If you visit a Bulgarian home, rakija will likely be the first thing offered, and saying no is almost unheard of. My grandfather always said, "A guest without rakija is like a table without bread," laughs Vasil, a retired winemaker from Veliko Tarnovo. Rakija is made from fermented plums, grapes, or apricots. It is strong, usually between 40 and 50% alcohol, and homemade versions can be even more intense. Some Bulgarians swear rakija cures everything from a sore throat to a broken heart. But drinking rakija is not about getting drunk, it is a ritual. It is always served with meze, small plates of cheese, cured meats, pickled vegetables, and fresh tomato. It is sipped slowly, never chugged. Most importantly, rakija is about connection, welcoming guests, celebrating life, and strengthening bonds. So if a Bulgarian offers you a glass, raise it, say "Nazdrave," which means cheers, and sip like a local. Of course, not all Bulgarian traditions involve alcohol. Some come wrapped in buttery pastry. Meet banitsa, Bulgaria's most beloved breakfast. Picture layers of flaky phyllo dough filled with eggs and feta cheese baked until golden. It is comforting, rich, and found in every bakery across the country. But once a year, banitsa becomes more than breakfast. It becomes a fortune teller. On New Year's Eve, Bulgarians bake handwritten fortunes inside the banitsa, each wrapped in foil. Everyone takes a piece, and the message they receive predicts their fate for the year ahead. "Mine said I would fall in love," says Raya, a university student in Sofia. "3 months later, I met my boyfriend." Some fortunes are funny, some are serious, and a few, uncomfortably accurate. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Click on the video that appears on your screen right now. I'm sure you'll love this content. Comment below about the next country you want to see featured on our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Thanks for joining us. Leave a comment, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more interesting videos. See you in the next video.